Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog, Discord server, Amoeba group, Facebook group, Twittering, and that Instagram shite. So this is the Labor Day weekend. It's Sunday night. I have to admit that once I became senior in my rank as sergeant, at my work location, I always made Labor Day an individual vacation pick day, just so I wouldn't have to work the West Indian Day detail again, because it was hellish. Now I'm just very happy and blessed that I am retired and not dealing with all the crap that's going on right now. But that's something totally off topic. So what am I talking about today? Well, I did promise last week that we would talk AD&D at least once a week. And today will be that day this week. Now, I've probably brought this up in the past because it's really something that's irked me about 1E. And not just the fact that 1E has so many subsystems that are incompatible with the main resolution system, right? I mean, the main resolution system is a D20. Attacks and saves. Unless you're doing unarmed combat. With the overbearing and pummeling charts, which are not D20 based, but are percentile based. And I never quite understood the whole subdual damage, regular damage deal, let alone subduing dragons. My group never did such. They either killed it or got killed by it or drove it off, but the subdue damage didn't happen. But there was always something that confused me to shit. Alright? And that was weapon speed. Because weapon speed, from what I understand, and I'm still not claiming to have any real understanding of weapon speed, is that weapon speed came into effect when initiative was tied. So if both sides tied an initiative, that's when weapon speed came into effect, and that's when a dagger could theoretically strike multiple times before the two-handed sword. And one thing I never really fully understood either is, what if it's a fighter fighting with a dagger, which I know, right? Never happened, right? But what if it was a fighter fighting with a dagger who already has multiple attacks per round? Maybe they're specialized, so maybe that at their 7th level and they're getting 2 attacks per round, right? With daggers. How does that work with the tied weapon speed? And it all breaks down in my head. Alright? It all breaks down. Now, and again, attacks, saves, D20. But surprise and initiative, D6. Okay, I can handle that. Not a big deal. But, again, why is it that attacks made unarmed go to these weird percentile, not even really like a table, all these wacky adjustments? This is why we always used to just house rule it that fist did 1 to 2 points of damage, and really only effective against somebody who had an unarmored part to their body. Maybe if somebody was in plate mail or chain mail and you wanted to box it out with him, you had to do a cold shot for the head. But then again, there weren't really even rules for cold shots unless you enter them yourself, right? For a system that was supposed to do away with the ambiguity of core white box D&D or basic expert, AD&D did exactly the opposite. It caused a lot of questions. And I know that part of it was that the DMG... here's the thing. The player's handbook seems pretty well organized. Sure, they throw in the bar class, which breaks the rules for multi-classing totally. right? No, sorry, dual classing, totally. Because you're changing your class twice, beyond a limit of once, and the stat requirements aren't the same, but neither here nor there. But the DMG seems like it's a bunch of random I don't know, like subsystems that aren't compatible with the main system. Alright. Actually, with the player sample, because we should throw in psionics, which is another. That's why they're in the back, the appendix, right? Well, listen, that's where things like unarmed combat should have been thrown into the back of the DMG as an optional system. Because, let's be honest, that was broken. Weapon speed should have been thrown into the back of the DMG as an optional system. In my group, weapon speed was the first thing we jettisoned. Now, I remember an article, I'm going to say Dragon 6970, around there, which had a different look on weapon speed, or at least tried to explain it. It's around when they had the article with the variable weapon damage based upon class. Like if you were a magic user or an illusionist, any weapon you had aside from a staff, the D4 damage. So even if you're fighting with a longsword like Gandalf, you were limited to D4. I understood that. It made sense. But, listen, somebody out there can explain weapon speed to me. I kind of understand the whole surprise chart, which is really poorly laid out in the DMG. We muddled through that. But if somebody can explain how weapon speed works in AD&D First Edition, I'd love to hear it. Do a Matt Jackson, call up, say, the time's running out, back with part 2, back with part 3. Because I think myself and others would probably benefit greatly from your knowledge. On that note, folks, we're in the midst of a pandemic. It's canceled conventions for the whole year, And the OSR, starting with GaryCon and moving on down, in-person conventions have gone the way of the dodo bird. Take actions, take precautions by using your common sense. Alright? Not a medical professional. Can't tell you what to do. I'm just saying, use your common sense. Protect yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends, your community. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice. And I will talk with you all tomorrow. God willing. All right.